What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the About Wellbeing podcast. So today we'll be talking about mental tools for gym training tips. This title will be something along the lines of that. Before we get started, I'm going to give you a couple of Friedrich Nietzsche quotes because I love them. So the first one is, "Then you learned how it is harder to give well than to take well, and to give well is an art, and the ultimate, subtlest master art of kindness." Now, this makes sense to me when I listen to Oprah Winfrey talk about her story as why she gives all of her credit to success to being able to practice gratitude. And by saying this, and then you learned how it is harder to give well by giving thanks, by giving your time, by giving your presence, as in like not actual present, as in presence, and also gifts or whatever it is, and how you give to someone is a lot harder than what it is to take and receive. And obviously, by getting really good at that is a skill. So I think that's what he means by that. That makes a lot of sense to me. Another one is, "Evil is man's best strength. Man must grow better and more evil. The most evil is necessary for the Superman's best." So if you have the goal of becoming Superman, that's just some shadow work right there. That is integrating your shadow side, as Jordan Peterson says, sharpening your sword but never using it. I think Friedrich Nietzsche hit the nail on the head with some of that. One more. This is a really good one. I like this one. "Be content to have lived your whole life. Was that life, I will say to death, every night and every morning. Very well, once more." I'll say that again. "Be content to have lived your whole life. Was that life, I will say to death, every night and every morning. Very well, once more." I like that whole kind of thing as kind of like a life goes on and it keeps going, and you got to take the charge of every single day and contemplate death every day and try to live every single day knowing that that is around us and to make most of it. So I think that is fucking fantastic. So here we go. I've got 6 training tips for y'all and a couple of takeaways for y'all. So the top 6 training tips. Now, a lot of my stuff, how I go for... Firstly, I haven't put up a podcast about fucking training yet. I have a program that's out. I literally just finished a training program, like the ultimate training program ever. I've put everything that I've ever learned in the past like 13 years of myself training into the gym into a training program in like a step-by-step process where like you go through and make everything fucking, it's just the best. It's like a uni-style lecture course, and basically if you ever wanted to upgrade your gym training either from beginning or advanced, if you're advanced, it's a whole new different skill set of different things. If you're a beginner, basically once you finish the program, you're never going to need help in the gym again. Maybe for a spot, but that's probably about it. Like, you'll learn so much more than the majority of people, because you've taken like 13 years in a condensed course and you're taking that, and that'll fucking change your life. So a little sneaky to you, because you guys are my listeners, if you click the link below, like, or in the description, or actually, sorry, you can't click the link, you have to send me click the link and it'll get you to my Instagram page. If you inbox me or DM me saying free trial, or email me, find my email and email me free trial, I will send you the link and you can get the training program 7 days for free. Now, I'll kick you out after the 7 days. But in the meantime of the 7 days that you get for free, honestly, take advantage of it. You may be able to complete the whole course in 7 days. If you can, I'll be extremely impressed. But you should be able to find out and learn and have a whole bunch of different resources and a whole new mindset after using it for 7 days. So take advantage of that. And I'm only going to be doing that for January and February of 2021. So go in there and check it out and let me know what you think of all the goods. Send me the email. So I completely forgot. So yeah, a lot of the stuff that we learn in the training program comes out of a lot of these tips, because what I really recognize is that your mind and body is the same thing. If you've listened to any of my podcasts, you recognize that if your body is strong and healthy, it's a lot easier. It gives your mind the best chance to be strong and healthy. And if your mind is strong and healthy, it gives your body the best chance to be strong and healthy and actually do the things, especially if you have the discipline and the responsibility to go after it and fucking get it. And yes, so I strongly believe how you think about things, your vocabulary for things, and how you name and label stuff is a whole different skill set in itself. Like, all of these things I'm going to be teaching you today are all mental tools and skill sets. And that's how I like to approach my training, to give myself the best chances possible to create some damn muscles and get out there and compete against guys that are on steroids and do it naturally and fucking win the comps. So by doing that, you have to take things to another fucking level. And by doing that, you really have to focus, use all the tools to your advantage. And, training is one that you can do. And by, I guess, myself personally, learning in the gym from the age of, 16, 17 and not having my own home gym and learning everything by myself before getting into a gym at the age of 21, I have a unique skill set of figuring out the path of most resistance, of figuring out how to speak to yourself and label things and give things different cues for when you're trying to actually train to generate muscle stimulus. And I'm very body aware. So that is some strength and sort of how I've kind of figured out these mental tools. So here are the top 6 tips. I'm going to run through them and then I'm going to get into them in detail. So the first top 6 tips, and then I'll have a couple of takeaways for you to fucking go after and smash that shit. So anyway, top training tips, the 6 of them. So learn each muscle group. And exercise like a map to a video game. So what I mean by that is, when I'm not sure if you play a video game or you play a chessboard or whatever, and after playing it for a while, you really understand what's happening. So I think you should be learning each muscle group and each muscle and every single exercise like a video game, and how you're moving it and what you're doing with everything. Sorry, I'll quick running through before I get into it. God damn, I'll start rambling on. Every exercise is a skill. That's what it comes under by meaning of learning each muscle group like an exercise and like a map to a video game. Focus on execution. The better the form, the heavier the weights. Give yourself every reason to create the most muscle stimulation possible. Know when to go heavy and as hard as you can. The importance of a well-balanced training split and exercise split is fucking crucial. And training is like meditation. Yes, so meditating can be extremely beneficial for that. So here we go. Learn each muscle like an exercise to a map to a video game. Every exercise is a damn skill. So literally every single exercise that you do, whether it's just like a standing bicep curl to a standing side raise, for your side delts, to a bench press, they're all a skill in themselves. The same way skills are for someone hitting a golf ball, smashing a tennis, hitting a tennis ball, running around on a footy field and learning how to kick, catch, grab and do things, and being under pressure and, kicking to something so accurate that it's just oh my God, that's amazing, this person did that. So that exact skill applies, and a lot of the masters, Coach Eugene and Ben Pekulski and Frank Zane and Arnold and all those guys, they all mention as well was just sort of the importance of doing the exercise and the rep with focus and clarity for what you're doing, and understanding how your muscles actually work and how you're actually doing that, and learning how every single muscle exercise is a skill. Was that every single centimeter matters, and learning your body is the skill. So learning the exercise firstly, and then learning how to squeeze your body and get the most muscle stimulation for every single little part of the rep for you, and how it's squeezed throughout the whole time of the rep. And learning that is completely different to everyone else. And then, so it's learning your body basically like the map, and how your body actually moves and squeezes and how it all works. And then also, what is the exercise? What's the path that's actually going through? Now, one of the tips is most people will tell you this and go, oh, how do I actually apply this? And the simple key for it is just awareness. When you're training, is to fucking think about that. Where is my map? Alright, where is the end? Where's the start? Am I executing this skill correctly? God forbid I have to ask someone or have a training partner and say, am I doing this correctly? Does this look right? Or even asking yourself, do I feel this in my muscles? Do I need to get good at this skill, this exercise? Because there's some exercises with some people for their body symmetrical type, if you want to make them look really good, it's well, this skill might be really good for you to learn. And if you're dedicated to learning it after a period of time, you might get really good mind-to-muscle connection. What is mind-to-muscle connection? And that is simply learning your body like a damn video game map. So it's the same thing. So it's essentially, it's like mind-to-muscle connection, but being able to have the right words for that makes it extremely important. The second point, so yeah, the biggest takeaway is just go out there and start thinking about it. Start thinking about each exercise and how you move your body with each exercise. Knowing that, whoo, critical. So the next one, focus on execution. The better the form, the heavier the weight. So this is one thing that I've learned recently and have really tried to apply, and I think it is so critically damn important, man. So even just for myself, an example, I used to get some heavy weight on the bench. Like the heaviest I've ever benched was 170 kilos, but my ass was off the bench. So technically it doesn't count, but for me, I felt like that was so heavy. I was like, it fucking moved, alright? I've benched 160 a couple of times and 150 comfortably for ages. Now I cannot bench that for shit. Chest is still growing, chest is on the same size of stuff, but my form, I find, has gotten a whole lot better. And could I probably lift that heavy if I was adapted to it a little bit more and tried to lift that heavy over a certain period of time? Because I haven't for a while, and I've slowed down the tempo of the reps. I think it would take me a few weeks, and yeah, I could lift that heavy again. But I'm sort of getting heavier. My strength is increasing at a much slower rate, and my form and execution of the reps keep getting better and keep getting better. And that's where the intensity and the progressive overload comes from. Because a lot of the time what I hear from other trainers and people talking about in the gym is progressive overload and actually moving up the weights. But a lot of the time what I don't hear is that if your form and execution of the rep get better and your tempo gets better and you get better at squeezing your muscle and you get better at learning your body like a video game and your contractions are bigger every single week, is that that's progressive overload too. So, you know, which way do you want to go about it? Now, what I've experienced is if I'm going up in weights too quickly, I'll get injured, so I'll have some sort of muscle imbalance, blah, blah, blah. And for doing it this way, it feels a lot better. I feel like I heal a lot better. I feel, personally, I don't know the studies in this, but I feel like my central nervous system gets a little bit less taxed. At the same time, when my central nervous system gets less taxed, I feel more fucked in a workout. It's just that I can train again the next day really hard on a different muscle group. My muscle heals better, and then I can train the same muscle group again 3 to 4 days later. So that's for some of the arguments for how I'm training in the gym for, you know, focusing on execution. I find it is really important. And you can do things like, how would you improve your execution? Well, what I like to say is the transitions of your exercise matters. For example, bench press. If you're on a bench press and you're pushing all the way up and you get to the top and you lock out and you come down to the bottom and you pause right before the bar touches your chest. Now, looking at the transition of when the bar locks out and before it touches your chest and making those transitions as smooth and as crisp and as clear and as in their most like beautiful, it's the exact same tempo as possible so that it looks fantastic and that it looks graceful, I think you get a lot of muscle stimulation out of that. For myself, personally, I experience so much more stimulation than the people that I train and go to the gym with. Like I remember, because I think a deadlift is a very advanced exercise. And that I'm thinking, because of my muscle imbalances and stuff, even on a bench press, I'm thinking about so much to do one rep, and the weight isn't even that heavy. And I was training with one of my friends, and he was just like, dude, the bar just goes up and goes back down. Like, and when I'm training, and every time he was trying, and I was adjusting his form here and there, the rest of it we were trying to get clear on it. He was like, it felt so hard and like rigid and stuff. Like it was so different. When you did it, it was just like up, down. It looks so beautiful. I was like, yeah, man. Well, I've been doing them for a damn long time, and I know this stuff. So, but it was interesting for myself having that reflection. Now, sorry, I went off on a tangent. What I mean by the smoothness is literally, so when you go up, right before you start to get to the top of the rep, slow down, and as soon as you start to get to the very end of the rep, squeeze your muscles as hard as you can, and then very slowly start to transition into the negative part of the rep. And then the same thing, when you get to the bottom of the rep, start slowing down, taking a second to pause, squeezing your muscles hard, and then slowly having a smooth transition back into the rep again. Now, I like to do that for as many reps as possible. Before starting to like cheat or starting to really throw the weight around or starting to give some absolute oomph in the exercises. Now, does that mean my reps are slow? No, my reps aren't slow. You can do that at a faster tempo. You're just making sure that you're very controlled at the top and very controlled at the bottom, and making sure that transition is smooth, making sure that the negative part of the rep doesn't have as much momentum killed as possible. So what I mean by that is that, like, if I'm holding something like just a pen in my hand and I lift it up really fast and stop, the pen goes flying in the air. That's because the pen has momentum. Now the same thing happens when you're training with your muscles and stuff in the gym. Let's just say for a bicep curl, if you throw it up really fast, technically, if it's a 10 kilo bar and you're throwing it up fast, because of acceleration, that 10 kilo bar is no longer 10 kilos. It's less than 10 kilos. It's light because it's got momentum to get up. So if you're going slow enough on the way down or the way up to make sure that that 10 kilo bar is 10 kilos the whole time, do you think you're going to get more muscle stimulation? Yes, absolutely. That's how I used to bench a lot higher, bench heavier weights, acceleration. So the moment I'd hit my, well, not hit my chest, but the moment I'd stop, I'd push as hard, as fast as I can to generate momentum so that the weight was actually lighter on the way up. And now I have this really big sticky point, like 3/4 of the way through on a bench press where I'm like, no, I can't get it. But hey, that's great. Yeah, so give yourself every reason. So there, that is what number 2, focus on the execution. There are some nuggets there. I hope you take that in. This is the stuff that you learn how to cultivate really well in the training program. If you want that free trial, DM me. Free trial, baby. So give yourself every reason, this is point number 3, give yourself every reason to create the most muscle stimulation possible. Now this is something that is actually in my training program, but you can invent this stuff yourself and you can learn a whole bunch of things off of watching just people train on YouTube and the rest of it. So if you're wondering like, oh, do I have to pay for this program or try this free trial? No, you can figure this stuff out yourself. And you can do that through giving yourself every reason to create the most muscle stimulation. It's literally coming up with words, vocabularies, using intensity techniques and different techniques at the end of every single rep, and at the end of, well, not every single rep, but every single set and every exercise, and combining them together whenever you do a set or an exercise, and to make sure that your muscles get the most amount of stimulation. What does that mean? So that would be, just as an example, as at the end of a rep, doing something like pulse reps, doing negative reps, doing a drop set, doing broken reps, doing fatigue set, all these different things. There are a bunch of terms in my training program, but I'm sure if you Google and you find something similar. But adding those when you create your training program and putting them at the end of something, at the end of a set, and then doing those all together, it can be one of the best things you can ever do. And it can just, yeah, as far as muscle stimulation goes, that'll damn well create it. Because when you're getting into the gym and you're doing a set, you're not just going, oh, I'm doing 3 sets of 10. You're like, all right, cool. So I've got this set of 10, but I've got pulses at the end of it. I've got negative sets at the end of here. I've got this. So it's not just 10 reps. It's like 10 well-executed reps, then all this extra shit to make sure that you're training really hard. Now, if you're into this and you like what I've just said, I have an ebook, and you have to DM me again saying ebook if you'd like it. I have about 170 workouts in the ebook with all of this stuff, with all these different things at the end of the workout, so that you can actually go in there, have a look, and get cranking. So if you would like to test that out, DM me ebook, and you will, for a very small fee, I'll give that ebook to you, and you can have a look at all the 170 different workouts, all the different split techniques, everything else, and all of those little techniques at the end of the workouts have been put in there. So if you need some ideas for workouts to do those different things, that is an available resource for y'all. So yes, give yourself every reason to create the most muscle stimulation possible. Just an example, just like a double drop set or a triple drop set. You know, if you're doing that at the end of every single set, crazy. Here's a little fact if you didn't know that. 1 drop set has the same amount of muscle stimulation as 3 sets of 10 reps. What? I remember Josh Lanowitz on ATP Science podcast was talking about that, and I was like, no way, I love that. So yeah, I thought that was fucking great. Next tip number 4, know when to go heavy and as hard as you can. So, me saying this, being extremely mindful and executing correctly when you're in the gym, doing all these things is great. Smooth transition and the rest of it. But your body and your central nervous system have so much in the fucking tank that you have all these limiters basically in your brain to your body to make sure that your muscles are protected, because we're actually so much stronger than what we are perceived to be. The only reason is that if we push through something, we'll tear or break some shit in our bodies. Now that gets used when you hear people do like superhuman feats when they're like their child is in danger for something. You're like, I don't know, just rip this thing off, and it was fucking like, holy shit. So when they get flooded with adrenaline, those limiters apparently go down and they can do crazy stuff. So we have that. Now, so just that little nugget there, knowing that, you can push so much harder than what you can think in the gym. So with the execution focused style training that I was talking about beforehand, with learning the muscle groups and focusing on execution and give yourself every reason, you can keep pushing that until it's basically just you versus pain, right? You versus pain, and how long can you withstand it, because your body has heaps more in there. So I'm constantly fighting that myself in the gym, which is fucking great, and a great way to build mental resilience. Now, for knowing when to go heavy and go hard as you can, is knowing for the right exercises and the right times. If you're feeling good and your joints are good and your muscles are good, fucking do not hold back. Go absolutely fucking ballistic and go as hard and as heavy and as next level as you can. Like for myself personally, sometimes I'll be on the bench press, leg press, squatting, deadlift, whatever it is, bicep curling, and I'll be like, oh yeah, cool. So I've just got like, this reps, I've got 5 reps of this, and it's at, let's just say for example, it's 100 kilos, and I'm maxing out 100 kilos on whatever exercise. And then as I'm about putting 100 kilos on, it's the last set. I'm like, it's not the last set. I'm going to whack on another 10 kilos. Actually, I'm going to whack on 15 kilos side and go as fucking hard as I can. And then all of a sudden, bang, I've got 4 reps out. I'm going to go heavier than that again. Let's chuck another 10 kilos on each side. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And I sort of have this little thing behind my mind that says to me, that's like, if I go, all right, that's cool. I'm going to do 100 kilos on that, and I'm going to do it for 10 reps. Behind me, this little thing in my head either says, oh, you could do 15 to 20 reps. Then I think to myself, oh, no, I can't. Then it says, well, it's in your mind now, and you're going to have to do it, because otherwise you're going to feel like you didn't accomplish it. And I go, oh, God damn it. But when it comes to weight as well, if I'm like, I'm feeling good. My body is awesome. I could really push myself here, and like I feel great, and this exercise feels good, and there's no niggles. Let's fucking go. And fucking go. Like there is a reason you can like some of the best times of my life have literally just been by myself, pushing myself way beyond the limit in the gym. And that's sort of just like a self-belief in me that, whatever I set my mind to, I can do and beyond. I'm consistently overcoming myself in the gym. And that's sort of a mantra that I live by, to consistently overcome myself. That's one of the reasons I believe that I'm alive. So by doing that in the gym, and actually going, sometimes sacrificing form, pushing yourself, if you can, in the safest way as possible. Look at how Tommy Platz trains when he trains legs. I don't mean sacrifice form by making things go ugly and stupid and fucking gross till you're going to injure yourself. I just mean beforehand, what I was talking about, the momentum, about when you push yourself really hard and the weight goes lighter. Why not for a few times, if you're going heavy and hard on something, use that, and then on the way down of the rep, on the negative part, you will get muscle stimulus. Even if you're only getting little bits of the rep where you're actually really pushing hard, and there's still little bits of the rep where you're coming down really hard, but you're going as crazy as you can, I believe that there can be extreme benefits in that. And I know some people may not tell you that, but there definitely is. But you've got to make sure that you've got your own little checklist sorted before you go out there and do it. For me, that happens only every couple of weeks. Something like that, where I can be like, yes, let's fucking go. So know when you can do that, firstly, and do it, and know when you can do it safely. And when it is time to do it, fucking smash it. Look at Tommy Platz just doing a Tommy Platz leg extensions exercise. Look at that. Just on YouTube. I'll put a link in below. You'll be able to fucking see that. I'll put the link in there. Have a look and you'll go, what the fuck? Yeah, I like a bit of that. And for the heavy as well. Fucking go for it when you're good. And make sure when you're good that you fucking go for it and know when you're good. Okay, enough on that, because I'll just keep going. Importance of a well-balanced training split. So there is literally studies and science out there, out of the book Boundless, Ben Greenfield written, that symmetry and being symmetrical, face and body, contribute to basically how long you're going to live. What? I thought that was crazy. Now, the thing is just the importance of a well-balanced training split. If you have a well-balanced training split that is well-balanced for you specifically, then it's going to be a lot less likely for you to get injuries or muscle imbalances. They're so important. Now, one of the really good and best things that bodybuilders and physique people have done and organized, and physique competitors have organized and figured out, is with the symmetry of how the body looks. You go, fuck, that looks so beautiful and symmetrical, their body looks. A lot of the time, their body's extremely healthy too. Sometimes not, but if it is really symmetrical, it's a lot less likely that they're having injuries, and they can train as hard as possible in the gym, and that they can really push it and feel like awesome. And it's just so important. The reduction of injuries and the lack of imbalances of muscle imbalances, injuries, comes out of having a well-balanced training split. And I'm just like saying, I was using the bodybuilders as an example. For the ones that are very well-balanced, you can see it. You're like, they would train really well, not have too many muscle imbalances, because it'll just look so fucking good up there. Which I think is awesome. And it's so critically important. Now, how do you know if you have a well-balanced training split? Well, firstly, a very easy hack is you can get a DNA test. For me personally, I've changed my split. I do a heavy upper body day a week, I do a heavy lower body day a week, and then I do a push-pull legs. And that is because my power and strength genes are at 40% and my endurance genes are at 60%. Endurance being 12 to 20 reps and strength being like 3 to 7 reps, something around there. So that's why I do 40% of my training heavy, 70% of my training endurance, and I'm liking it at the moment. Everything is working and feeling really good. Now, the other way to go around it is just to try different splits and figure out what works best for you. Figure out when you're not injured as much. Track some of that stuff and think about those things and be really mindful for that. Now, at the same time of the importance of a well-balanced training split, that also comes in with exercise selection. So looking at your body and figuring out for you what is actually going to be best when you're doing certain exercises. Blah, blah, blah. So good. So you need to be having a certain amount of exercises, or selecting exercises which are going to contribute to the symmetry of your body, and executing on those to prevent muscle imbalances and the rest of it. And the more beautiful and the more symmetrical the body that you start to build is, the more, I guess, you can be certain that you're doing the right exercises and the right training, and you're doing the right training and your split is right. Basically, when you get injured or something like that, it's your body's way of telling you that all the exercises that you're doing and the split that you were doing currently at the moment, something's not working. You need to shift something up. But that does also come into play with how you execute the reps as well, which is why the execution is so critically goddamn important. The last point, by the way, I go all of that in the training program. How good. Training is like meditation. So this is one of the biggest things that I think is so important for training. There is, like, as I always say, the mind and the body is the same goddamn thing, ladies and gentlemen. And so when you meditate, what does a meditation look like? Well, literally you're sitting there with your eyes closed or open, and you're thinking about your breath. Every single damn millisecond is what you're trying to do. Notice when your mind gets distracted, right? So you're sitting there when you're meditating and you're thinking to yourself, I'm breathing out, I'm breathing out, I'm breathing out, I'm breathing out. I've stopped now. I'm starting to breathe in, I'm starting, oh, now I'm breathing in, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing in, and I'm stopping now. And I'm starting to breathe out, breathe out. Now, how many guys did you get bored about me just saying that? I bet your mind just got distracted as I was talking about that. But that's what you're doing when you're meditating. Now, what are you doing when you're training and doing a rep of something? Let's say a bicep curl. You're curling up, you're curling up, you're curling up, you're curling up, you stop. You're curling down, you're curling down, you're curling down, you're curling down, you stop. It's the exact fucking same. It is the damn same. It's like meditation and exercising in the gym, like isolated exercises, is the same. And you do notice, even when you're training, sometimes you go, oh, did this person text me? Did this fucking happen? It's a thought. Then you got to recognize, hang on a second, I'm fucking trying to make some muscles here. Shut up, brain. Boom! Trying to get this. So it's exactly the same thing. I find training so meditative for that fucking reason. And basically, the better you are at meditating, and the more you can stay focused and present when you're executing your reps, the better that you're going to be at training and making muscle growth. Like, it's as simple as that. And yeah, so actually doing meditation is going to make your training better. What the fuck? If you got gym junkies you're listening, you're like, oh my god. Start fucking meditating and you'll see the difference of how focused you are and how crystal clear. Now, another thing that I said at the start, circle moment, was when those, I was talking about the smooth transitions at the top of the rep. That is what you're doing when you're meditating as well. Because when you're meditating, your breath is so smooth when it goes out to come back in. And yeah, basically when you're noticing your breath. Now, it's the same thing when you're training. You want those smooth transitions. You want to treat every single exercise like you would when your breath, when you're thinking about it every single second, every single inch. Now, same thing with your muscles. If you can be connected with your muscles for every single millimeter and think about them for every single millimeter contraction and try to make them as big as possible while you're training training and try to make them, work as hard as possible for every fucking millimeter, inch, centimeter, whatever it is of the rep, you're going to grow so much better than anyone else. C.T. Fletcher says this. He's like, I remember when watching C.T. Fletcher's videos, he was training with the biggest fucking biceps ever, and he was like, you got to talk to your bicep. He was saying that. He was like, you got to say, grow, motherfucker. Grow. It's not going to grow if you ain't talking to it. So yeah, I got to the C.T. Fletcher thing, the card cut out. So yeah, I was like, yeah, no shit, C.T., you're making so much goddamn sense there by like actually talking to your bicep. And that's basically his way of staying connected and mindful to your bicep whilst you're contracting it, like meditation, and actually thinking, I will need to make this as big as possible, flex it as big as possible, create the most muscle stimulation. So, that were the tips. I'll just run them through real quickly. Learn each muscle group and exercise like a map to a video game. Every exercise is a skill. Focus on execution. The better the form, the heavier the weights. Give yourself every reason to create the most muscle stimulation possible. Know when to go heavy and as hard as you can, and when you fucking get to go as hard and heavy as you can, give it some fucking juice! The importance of a well-balanced training split and the exercises, and then training is also like meditation. Circle moment, and the circle moment between training is like meditation, and each muscle group is a video game. Now here's just 3 takeaways for you for when you're training, getting after the gym. And the first one is, the next time you go to the gym, be extremely mindful. Try the meditation stuff. It's literally, make sure you say to yourself, even before you get to the gym today, I'm going to train as mindfully as possible. What I mean by that, remove all distractions. Literally, like, listen to some binaural beats on your phone, or something in a different fucking language, or some tones or something that hasn't got lyrics in there, so you're not thinking about the lyrics. Remove all distractions, put your phone away, don't listen to it, and just go into the gym, and every single exercise, just like close your eyes or stare at the muscle that you're training and just think about it the whole time. And be extremely mindful of like where your muscle is and think about it. Squeeze at the top, squeeze at the bottom. Notice the very smooth transitions that you put in there. Be extremely mindful, which leads into the second point, right? So when you're training in the next gym session you're going, whether you got pull, back, chest, legs, arms, whatever the fuck you're doing, think about every single centimeter of the rep. So when you're in there, like the meditation, literally when you exercise, you'll notice yourself get fucking so exhausted. You'll be exhausted, like 3 exercises, and you'll be like, why am I so tired? Mentally and physically. Like, my God, what is going on here? Think about every single centimeter, every single rep, for every single set, for every single exercise that you do. I dare you, for your next workout, be mindful, remove the distractions, and think about every single centimeter. Am I contracting hard enough? Am I contracting? Is there enough weight? Is there too much weight? How's it going? Think about that. And the third point here, which is I think is so important, I haven't mentioned it yet, is learn hinge resistance. As an example, when you do a squat, what is actually moving? It's your ankles, your knees, and your hips. Now, when you go down into a squat, if you go too far down into a squat, a lot of time people can injure their backs and stuff. So when you go down to the squat, start to notice when the hip, knee, and ankle you start to feel a little bit of resistance in the joints, in the areas where stuff is moving, like biceps. You might feel a little bit of resistance in your elbow or the top of your arm and your rep before the bicep connects to your shoulder. You might feel a little bit of resistance in there. Notice those hinge points of when you start to feel resistance, right? And when you start to feel resistance, go a little bit more until the resistance kind of goes, all right, that's enough, and then go back up on your reps. So I am a big guest. I love to encourage people to not go as far on exercises that their biomechanics won't let them. Like if they got tight hips and you're trying to squat deep, like don't. But do practice a squat. Go to where that resistance is. Go maybe just a little bit more and then go up again. Even if it's not even 90 degrees. Some people are so tight in their hips and their psoas and stuff or whatever it is that's preventing them from getting down into a deep squat that they can't do it. So don't do it. Don't practice that. You're more likely to get injured and fuck yourself. So notice those hinge points. And they're different for people. And that is literally learning hinge points within range of motion for resistance. That's probably a better terminology to come up with it. For me, it used to be when I was doing a military shoulder press, and that's just getting a barbell, having it on your chest, pushing it up above your head and coming down. I couldn't go down past my eyes because my shoulder would feel weird, and or come down to my mouth because everything would cramp up too much. So I massaged my chest out, massaged my lats out, got good at training shoulders, started training them some more and getting better at doing the exercises, and now it comes down, I go all the way down to my chest and pushed up again, and it feels fucking fantastic. So yes, just be aware of those things and execute within that range, and yeah, you'll notice maybe you might notice a lot less injuries, and you might notice as well, getting to those hinge points is the perfect point for you to practice those smooth transitions in your training. Well, I've said enough. I don't want to give away too much. If you guys want to learn out more, you can go to my damn training program. You can message me saying free trial or workout ebook, whatever it is, and you can go from there. I fucking love this podcast. There were so many little tips in there. I love getting to talk and share a little bit of my knowledge in this stuff, and I really hope that you guys like this. Because I've spent so long thinking about this, because I like to relay all of this training stuff that I've learned and all of this different vocabulary to everything else that I do in my life. And when I work with my clients and I'm trying to crush business, or I'm trying to personally develop or spiritually develop or organize for philosophy or get disciplined to take responsibility or design my life, I use these techniques, and I've used them they relay into your mental stuff, and they've worked out really well for me. So I hope you've listened to this and you're going to try some of these things, and you've taken some fucking notes or whatever, and I hope that they can work for you too, because the only reason you're listening to this is to get something out of it, is you think that something that I am saying has a gift to offer you, and I'm telling you, what I've just said here is one of the biggest gifts I could offer you, hands down, especially when it comes to training, because I personally believe that if you're not doing some sort of athletics on a high athletic level, especially if you're male or female, if you're not doing some sort of training or exercise on an elite level, you should be in the gym training your fucking ass off. And that is not for the reason of, for training or whatever. It's literally just for health, and for your mental health. All the studies are out there for resistance training, for longevity and blah, 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 and all the rest of it, and just fucking feeling good and feeling strong and healthy and fit, and how that leads on to self-confidence, and you can actually like yourself and, respect yourself because you're going out there and getting after it and getting it done, and then, you're better at dealing with stress because you're doing those things, and blah, 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 blah. You get into my hierarchy, right? So yeah, that's just one little thing that I like to say is, if you're not... Because when you look at athletes and the rest of it, those people that are training really hard, they're executing really well, they seem really happy a lot of the times if they are doing something that they like doing. So do that for yourself. Just one little tick that I remember is from listening to one thing that Matthew McConaughey was saying, was he likes to write down all of his routines throughout his life, and when he gets sad and depressed, he gets the routines from when he was really happy and thinks, what the fuck was I doing then? Now, if you were talking to an elite athlete of when were they at the happiest, they would have been I was fucking training my ass off, I was competing in these competitions, I was using my body, I felt so confident, I felt so good within myself. So if you had whatever it was, the high athlete version of yourself, right? And they were in your future, and they were writing a note back to you, I am fucking 100% positive that they would have said training like a beast was one of the best things that I was doing at that time. So I'm going to leave that with you. I'm giving you a huge fucking flex right here. I'm going to send you some huge love. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. And if you got anything out of this, please share it. Please share it on your story and just say this was a good podcast, or give it to your friends or anyone who may need it. So yeah, big love from me, big love from the gym lords, and we'll fucking see you in the next one, guys. Bye!